I'm James J. Kuznia. I live east of Stephen on a farm, and I enlisted into the National Guard in November of 1964, and I got discharged in July of 1970.
Okay. So where were you inducted at? Where did they swear you in?
At Thief River Falls.
Thief River Falls? Did you do it with a bunch of guys or?
Yeah, there was like a few of them. I can't remember exactly how many, but there was a lot of guys coming into the Guard in those days.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went for my basic training. We went to Fort Jackson, South Carolina, and we were there for six months, I think.
In November, it was a little cooler, right?
Yeah, but when we got there, it was pretty hot.
Was it November?
Yeah, it was hot.
Really?
They had us standing on a tar parking lot, and I had black shoes on, and your feet were just burning. And so we had our training there. I had my basic training there and my AIT there. And,
So what was a day like in basic training? How did that go up? I mean, was basic training tough for you, or?
no, not really, because guy was used to working on the farm and whatever. So guy was strong or stronger than a lot of the guys were. There was a couple guys I know from New York City that they couldn't do any of the calisthenics, and so they were in the grease pit in the kitchen all the time, cleaning that.
So what's some of the things you did in basic training?
Well, in the morning, you had reveille in the morning, early in the morning, like maybe 6 o'clock, and then we do exercises, calisthenics, and go on some marches, and then we would usually then they had a little break at noon, we'd get something to eat, and then we'd do again in the afternoon. It was...
It's quite a bit of schooling?
We had some. I was in a infantry unit, a rifle infantry unit, so we did practice with the rifles and stuff like that, but otherwise there wasn't really too much book schooling.
Okay, what kind of barracks were you in?
They were kind of old, and they were like a two-story barracks, and a shower room on each floor, and a bathroom, and then just the bunks were just lined up, on each side. So
Double decker?
yeah.
Yeah. And so what was your drill sergeant like?
I got along good with him, because if he said he needs 50 push-ups, you could do 50 push-ups. There was no problem. But some guys, and then you got to learn to keep your mouth shut. And some guys, they couldn't do the calisthenics that they just couldn't do them. So that they would get. He was he had a loud voice. He was just a short little guy, and his name was Sergeant Tucker.
Remember that, don't you?
Yeah.
Loud little guy.
Yeah, but he was okay. I got along good with him. So.
Okay. So the food?
It could have been a little bit better sometimes, but if you're not fussy, you come from a family of 8 kids, you kind of eat what and I think you kind of know how that goes too.
Mm-hmm.
You just eat kind of what you get, but no, you got little variety. Like for breakfast in the morning, it was either eggs or cereal or whatever, toast, and then at noon they had some I can't really remember exactly, but it was like hot dishes or you know, do stuff like that, you know. And but it was okay.
Did you have any KP? Did you pull KP?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, yeah.
Is that a fun time?
But it wasn't too bad. I kind of, you know, just went there and did it. And
Yeah.
if you got along with
Cooks?
cooks, you were okay.
Yeah. So you went to the firing range quite a bit,
Yeah,
and then did you go through a gas chamber or anything like that?
yeah, I did. And
You want to explain that one time?
well, that was, you know, you had your mask on and then you went in there, and then they told you to take your mask off, you know, inside that, and you had it off for a little while, and then they told you that you could put your mask back on and then come out. So, but that was a lot of people. I think I was coughing too, you know, after you get.
So were you itching anywhere, or you haven't noticed any of that?
No, no.
No. Okay. Did you crawl under machine gun fire or anything like that?
Yeah, yeah, we did. Under the.
You want to explain that a little bit?
Well, you tried to crawl as low to the. I think they were firing maybe quite a bit above us, but you know they did. You crawled to as low as you could to the ground.
Do you have any pits that exploded or anything like that?
Well, yeah, there was some like borders that come in, you know, and blew up, and actually I injured my ears from that loud noise, but I never went into sick call, would it? So now it's not on my record. So when I went to the VA, they said that they just gave me 10%, but I didn't. But that's what my hearing. That's where it went. And I don't know. I guess.
Did they give you no hearing aids or anything like that?
Yeah, I get hearing aids.
You
yeah.
do get hearing. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. And so you get done with basic training. Do you have a parade or?
Yeah, we had a parade through the company areas there, kind of, and then we were in a field, and there was some bleachers, bunch of bleachers there, like we were in one company here, the next company there, and so then we got to go home.
But when you were there, were you mixed in with regular army?
Yeah.
There was a regular army in your barracks, or just National Guard?
No.
Oh, it's all mixed together?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So then you're going home, and
Then we come home, it was around, it was in the winter time, around Christmas time, I think, or something. After 8 weeks of, or 6 weeks of basic, you know, or whatever it was. And then we come home, then we went back, and then we had AIT then. So then you got more,
take a train home again, then, or
no, we flew home.
you flew home?
But on the way there, we took the train.
Okay.
Yeah. So, full of, you know, guys that were coming into the Army.
So how long did you have at home?
I think it was 10 days maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. And then AIT, you know, we had a lot of more rifle training and
64, you must have had M14, huh?
yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yep. And then they had, I think if you, how it worked, I think if you done good on your things you were supposed to do, then you got picked to be a Jeep driver for the lieutenant or captain, you know. So I did that quite a bit too, you know.
Okay.
Drive around it.
I think we call you guys brown nosers or suck ups.
It could be, yeah. But it was better to be on that list than on the other list.
Right. Just kidding.
And otherwise, we just kind of done training, you know. They were with the regular Army guys and the National Guard guys, so it was kind of, you know, mixed training kind of that way.
So did you go out in the field, do a lot of
Yeah, no, we
bivouacking
would,
and
right, we did bivouacking and,
half a tent and
yeah. And then, yeah, then we'd go out and stay there for, usually it was a week when we'd go and bivouac, you know.
so you got used to being out in the elements.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we got graduated from AIT, and then we come home. And
Did you know anybody?
yeah, Dave Peruszewski we enlisted the same day, and we went together, and we were together all the time.
Dave Peruszewski.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And then we start, you know, at home here, we started going, you know, to meetings once. It was during Vietnam, so that we had meetings once a week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that for a while there, every week.
And your meetings were in
Thief River.
Thief River. Okay.
And then in the wintertime, we had jungle training in the snow.
Oh, makes sense.
Yeah.
Sarcasm.
Right. So that was, you know, because we were, if the Vietnam would have kept on, I think we would have got called in. I don't know if we would have went to Vietnam or we would have been stateside, I don't know. So we were kind of getting ready of how to fight in the jungle,
In snow.
in snow.
Okay.
And a lot of it was at night, you know, too, what we would train in that for at night. So,
Night marches.
yeah,
And,
yeah,
And this was on the weekends, right?
yeah.
And you did it every week
At first we did, yes.
for like how many months?
Well, it was maybe 3 months or so anyway. And then when it was slowing up in Vietnam, then we started backing off on the training.
So, what was I gonna say? Did you do summer camp too?
Yeah, at Camp Ripley.
So you're there, what, 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
Okay.
And
What was that like?
well, it was okay. We except that I got such a bad case of poison ivy all the time when we went out to bivouac, you know. And the first year I got poison ivy, and then there was a shot that you could get, but you had to start it in January. Take a shot in January, and then one in the spring. And so then the second year when I went, that worked. I didn't really get it, you know. Then they outlawed that vaccine.
Oh, goody, huh?
Yeah. So the third year, I think it was the third year, I got poison ivy so bad that I could hardly walk. I mean, it was dripping through my pants.
Really?
And so then my platoon sergeant, he told me that I should get sent back, you know, to the camp. I mean, that's what he was trying to tell the company commander. No, he wasn't gonna send me back, you know, or whatever. So he called up for 2 medics and a cot. And they carried me around everywhere we moved on a march or anything for a whole day. The next morning I went back to camp.
Somebody got tired of carrying you, huh?
Yeah. But I mean, it was, you know, with your fatigues and stuff, you know, they're not so soft sometimes, you know, it was terrible. It would weep right through the pants.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's bad.
Yeah, it is. It was, you know, and so then the next year, I didn't have to go out in the field. And they put me in charge of the beer hall.
The beer hall,
Yeah,
the M Club.
yeah. So that's what I did 2 years, the last 2 years.
You stayed in the beer,
Yeah,
in the EM Club
yeah,
and worked in there.
right. Yeah, they had, you know, beer and pizzas and whatever, you know, in there, so. But it was better than going out and getting poison ivy again that bad.
Okay. Did you do any kind of service, you know, like go out and like have to go somewhere and
We were in,
crowd control or
uh,
protest?
we were in, what year was that? 60s. When they had the flood in East Grand Forks.
97?
No, it was
No.
before that.
Oh,
The one before that.
the one before that. What year was that? But anyway,
It was in the late 70s, or early 70s maybe, or late 60s.
okay.
And so we were there on flood control. We had to walk the dike. You know, somebody had to walk that dike all the time. And they put us up in a motel. So we were there for a couple of weeks.
Your whole company go or?
Yeah. And then we took turns. You know, you had your shifts that you walked that dike.
And even through the night, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You just walk with a flashlight and
Right, to see if it was
water was coming
leaking
up.
through. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was really the only time that we got called for some active duty. It was kind of like active duty, you know.
Yeah.
So,
So, that the only time you got called out to
yeah, I think that was.
community service or anything, field sandbags or?
No, we never done that.
Okay.
No.
You don't have to worry about too many protests around Thief River, I suppose.
No. No, they were, I think overall they were kind of glad to, when we had meetings, because then after, we usually got done at midnight. So a couple of the cafes would stay open late, you know, just so we could come in there if we wanted a burger or something, you know.
Okay.
So they kind of catered to us a little bit.
So what'd you do while you were, I mean, you were weekends, 1 week in a month. What did you do for occupation?
You mean at home here?
Yeah.
I was working for Frankie Delisle from Stephen doing carpenter work, and he just knew that I had to go, you know. So, and then at 2 weeks at guard camp too, you know, he knew that I had
He
to
let you go and
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's no problem.
you had a job when you came back.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were, other than the flood, you weren't deployed anywhere or?
No.
Back there they didn't deploy it as like they did down
Like,
here
not,
now?
no, but we were on the list just about next to go.
Go to,
Well, get deployed, not overseas maybe, but we would have been deployed maybe in a stateside here someplace, more than likely.
go to Washington and protect something or?
Right.
Yeah, yeah. And they do some of that now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they do.
Like now to go to the border or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But otherwise, we were lucky that we didn't have to. Not, maybe I shouldn't say lucky, but it was better to stay at home here than go to Vietnam at that time.
Yeah. So what sticks out in your mind the most about your military career? Anything special or coming home?
Yeah, that would be maybe the thing. No. Nothing really that I could think of. It was one thing that was so special, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And, so then when it got to be, I had my 6 years in, and had a company commander, and they really wanted me to stay.
What was your rank?
I was E5, and I would have got to E6.
If you re-upped?
Yeah, if I read it. But I guess we were married, and I had 2 kids. One was about 2 years old, and one was 4 years old. And my wife didn't want me to stay in there.
No.
I mean, it wasn't that she minded that I went for 2 weeks in guard camp, but you know, if we would have gone for a year or something like that, you know, and she was working and she didn't know what she would do with the kids alone, you know, so I decided not to stay, and sometimes I wish I would have.
Got that retirement.
Yeah.
It's a long time to put up with that, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anything about your military career you want to add?
No, I'm just glad and proud that I went in and done it. And, you know, a lot of people, there's people that wouldn't go to the guard or wouldn't go, they lucked out for the draft, so they never went no place, you know. But I'm glad I did. You had a lot of different experiences and learned a lot, you know, whatever.
Met a lot of people.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's right.
So when you got to Thief River, were there a lot of people you knew?
Quite a few, yeah. There was a bunch from Goodrich and Grigla. We got to know them, and Thief River people, and there was people here from Stephen Argyle. The whole Carlston, there was quite a few people from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Anything else, Jim?
no, I don't think so.
Well, I want to thank you for doing this interview, and thank you for your service.
Yep, you're welcome.